Welcome, folks. It's the Dipped in Nonsense podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you're having a beautiful evening, day, night, whenever, man. It's crazy. We're just out here living life. You feel me? And we've got some a wonderful guest with us this week. Let's hit it off with some intros starting down the line.
What up? It's your boy Kevin, aka Atticus Warhol, aka Loud the Rat, aka fresh from a World Cup victory.
Subby Sub, Cash Money, Sub the Savage.
You already know who it is. It's your boy Q coming with that heat every single week. And our special guest this week, please introduce yourself.
Yes, my name is Matthew Yonemura, aka Kevin Liu.
Oh, ooh, that man is wanted. Several countries.
So, did you guys Spotify, right? Y'all be on Spotify.
Yes.
You be listening. Is that your music streaming platform of choice?
I don't own any music.
So, you know that Spotify Wrapped. Every year Spotify drops like the little Spotify Wrapped statistics on what you've been listening to, how you've been, your vibes, essentially, algorithm. Who you are is in this playlist. It's
like Google, but
this year Wrapped. What was on your guys' Spotify Wrapped? Did you check it out yet?
I think, let me see. I think my top two genres are city pop and hip hop.
Yeah, that's
and then I had my cousin Ginger Root as number 3 in the guest list.
Nice.
But I was an adventurer. 25 genres.
Ooh, nice. I had a big one too.
Yeah.
I don't remember how many genres, but they're you're an adventure.
Yeah, I honestly only saw those people. I'm curious as the person who only had one genre.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. What about you, Matthew?
I was definitely under the adventure too, but I think the main thing I noticed was the craziest part about mine was the minute breakdown.
Oh.
I had 41,000 minutes on podcasts.
Oh wow, that's impressive.
And the whole thing overall was 65,000. So
wow,
I spent.
Yo, you driving your car,
dude? I was
headphones.
When I work out, I don't listen to music. I just do podcasts.
That's great. That's crazy.
I'm curious. What's your top podcast, or what are your go-tos?
Mine is H3. I know that's a one where it's hit or miss with people, but I love H3.
What is that? I don't know.
What is it? Ethan and what's his wife's name?
Ela.
Yeah, dude, they're great.
Them, Bobby Lee, everything he does,
that's
Bad
great.
Friends, Tiger Belly,
Nice. Tiger Belly,
everything. I used to be big on Two Bears, One Cave. Kind of fell off on.
The Tom and Bert Kreischer.
I love those two.
They're funny. I've been watching or listening to Your Mom's House.
Yeah, dude.
It's funny.
It's hilarious.
Yo, dude, that's I did the math, and your 61,000 minutes is equivalent to 42 days.
Nice.
Of just pure listening enjoyment.
That's pretty
I
good.
gotta get those numbers up. That feels like it's lackluster. But what about you guys?
That's impressive with the podcast.
Yeah.
Let's see. I had for my top genre was hip hop. You already know. Number 1, my top artist. That Larry June. You feel me?
Numbers. Larry June represent
numbers. We healthy out here.
What's that?
Vince Staples was next. No surprise. I've been having Ramona Park Broke My Heart on repeat. That's such an easy listen to me. When I don't know what to listen to, I'll just put it on.
His
and I'm
concept songs.
It's good. It just sounds great.
Dope.
Then I got Kendrick, Mr. Tyler, the Creator, and then my girl Janet. Woo!
Janet.
Mm-hmm. Want to love me some Janet?
Yeah. What about you, Seb? Who's in your top 5?
My top 5. So it was pretty funny. Drake was number 1.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
She was a Drake. Hold on, I gotta play
Hey,
it.
that was my number 1 too. I mean, he dropped 2 albums in a year.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently he was on a lot of people's top 5s and stuff. So number 1 is Drake, and then we have Tyler the Creator, Kendrick Lamar, Steve Lacy, and Mac Miller, which is cool to see because I'm
our boy Mac
he's
still
still
in there
going strong
in the rotation.
Yeah.
Well, who's in your top 5?
Oh yeah. Mine were just Drake.
I was like, dude,
you guys tapped in.
I mean, I was just like, how do you not listen to this? I like the new music that comes out. I'm gonna at least try it out.
Yeah.
And it's just like no matter what you think of him, I know he's a cornball.
Yeah.
But he
That's
makes
why we
hits.
love him. Yeah.
Makes hits.
He does. It's undeniable.
Yeah. And then my favorite artist of all time is Frank Ocean.
Hey.
So he was my number 2.
Nice.
Which
blonde.
I was like hitting myself. I did not notice the sound bites until just now. But like, even though he hasn't put out music, I'm like, I always want him to be on my number
Yeah.
1. But it's like,
Yeah.
I give myself the pass because he hasn't put out music.
Exactly.
You know?
It's been years.
I
Right?
love his just like listening start to finish his albums.
Yeah.
Legend
It's just a
status.
concept. Channel Orange, you get all those like PlayStation riffs and blowing out the cartridge and all those other things. It's just timeless. I just hope that he delivers at Coachella. You know, maybe
Yeah,
drops an
okay.
album before.
We'll
supposedly,
If he's coming.
Every time there's a Homer radio, it's like, bro, he's gonna drop something. Just
Yeah, never happened.
never.
Who else? Who's else on the top?
If I'm being honest, I did have Rex Orange County on there.
Yeah, that's good.
Hey,
But I know there's some stuff with him.
You know, hey,
Is there?
you're just say it was before he got canceled.
It was. Actually, it was. It
Dang,
was.
he got canceled.
It was
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
allegation,
Oh.
right? Was there
Yeah.
more?
One allegation.
I was the one.
Let's not
yeah.
get too deep.
Too many
on it.
alligators.
Yeah.
Deep waters, man.
Yeah, but
He's
it
good,
was
though.
before. It was before that.
This
Yeah.
song's
Oh.
good.
Kendrick and then Tyler the Creator.
I love
Nice.
it.
There
So,
you go.
Yeah.
there's a couple of things that I think are fun about the Spotify Wrapped things. It's fun. One, it's interesting to see your own statistics, but I think what's more interesting is I love, like, people all complain about it, but I love seeing friends or people that I know share theirs, because it's just so interesting, because it's very telling about their personalities or what their mindsets are, like what they're feeling. Like their top song, like one of my homegirls, her top song was like "Count Me Out," and you know,
song.
but and she's
Did
a
you
fighter
expect
going
it?
through a tough workout. I wasn't expecting it, but I could just tell that, like, that's like a motivate. You know, I'm not
Yeah.
surprised but it's like that type of stuff. You can see what kind of like headspace is in, or what people really love by their top artists. And what's dope about that is I saw Kendrick was in so many people's tops, and I was like impressed with that. I'm like, go Kendrick. But it was interesting to see the range of people who he was in their top. I was actually surprised by a lot of the people who I saw Kendrick was in like their top 3 of the year. I was like,
Pretty
what?
cool.
Like you see Taylor Swift and Kendrick Lamar in the same, and then one person
Yeah,
just looks
dude.
like,
It's so funny.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. Nice. That's a good list. Everyone went through the list over here. Oh yeah, you did yours. So what were the overall like stats, like the most streamed or?
Yeah, so Spotify, they not only do
They collect all your data.
not only your personal data,
Yes.
but also the data at large. So let's see, the most streamed artist globally this year was number 1, Bad Bunny.
Dang.
Of course.
I really don't know if I've heard one song.
I
I mean, I feel like you've heard
in the background.
Probably.
Probably,
But, like,
yeah.
There's no way you haven't.
you don't purposely search Bad
Yeah.
Bunny and throw it on. But I was like hanging out with some friends, and like they were just like, "Oh, Bad Bunny this, Bad Bunny that." I was like, okay, all right, throw it in there. I was like, "What about some Polo and Pan?" Like, "Oh, Bad Bunny." I'm like, okay, you know, it's cool. But like, shout out to him. He's had a very successful
Oh
year.
my gosh.
He's killing it.
In
It's
Bullet
not
Train, he
surprised.
was cool in Bullet Train.
You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
yeah.
You see that
that's
movie?
Not yet.
It's good.
It's good, but
I liked it.
all right, so we got Bad Bunny number 1, Taylor Swift number 2. She killed it this year.
At least she wasn't number.
Number 3, Drizzy, you know, our
Drizzy,
boy.
okay.
Number 4, The Weeknd, who you can't get rid
Dang,
of
The
him
Weeknd.
off of lists. Like, you can't get rid of him. He's
When was
like
his last
always,
drop?
like 2 years ago or something
It's
like that.
what is-
I don't know. I'm not like the hugest Weeknd fan.
I just remember
so-
he got a Nickelodeon blimp for the song "I Can't Feel My Face with That I'm With You," and I was like, "This is
wild.
weird."
Yeah,
That's
he
wild.
performed it at like the Kids' Choice Awards, and it's just like a song about coke. Anyways, BTS took the number 5 spot. For the most
What?
streamed.
That's crazy.
Shout
I
out
thought that would have
Korea.
been higher.
Me
but-
too. Yeah.
I think does
Because they're like taking a break. Maybe they're like just
people
hypes.
in Korea use Spotify though?
Huh.
Because you know how
Probably.
like Asia has their own apps.
It's
Right.
global. It's globally. So, like, let's see. For example, the most streamed songs. Number 1 was Harry Styles. Man, these are boring.
Okay, all right. Skip
We're
it.
skipping that to the most streamed albums globally.
Okay.
Number 1, the most streamed album this year of 2022 was Uno Verano Sin Ti by Bad Bunny.
I like the pronunciation.
Yeah. it was
Number
good.
1.
It's fly.
Number 1,
Yeah.
Harry's House by Harry Styles. That's a pretty funny name
That's a
for
funny
album.
name.
Harry's house.
Sour by Olivia Rodrigo got number 3 spot. Equal Sign by Ed Sheeran got number 4. It's literally just an equal sign. And then Planet Her by Doja Cat.
I was happy to see
Fine.
Doja Cat. Yeah.
Go Doja. The kids
She's
love
holding
it.
it down.
She dropped some new merch.
Yeah.
Doja.
She's gonna be around for a long time.
Yep.
You know what she reminds me of? She reminds me of like seeing a second or like the new wave of like Missy Elliott.
That's what I was just gonna say. That's what
Really?
she reminds
Because if
me
you
of.
watch Missy Elliott, she was groundbreaking,
Creative.
in her time, and she wasn't like the idealistic, picturesque kind of like R&B artist, but she pushed the envelope with everything she did.
Yeah.
And that's like
I could see Doja, following in that just that creative space, like her music videos, like how she presents herself, like I don't know, she's definitely she's killing it.
Yeah.
She was
she's
in that
so
episode
unique.
of Dave.
Yeah, she's great.
I see. It's just wild because they're so different as artists. But I get what you're saying in terms of like overall as like a creator or performer.
Yeah.
But like
The range too.
I didn't think
She has a range, you know.
just
She can
unbelievable.
sing, she can rap, her flow can like switch up, like
Having this zany, creative aspect.
Oh, she's gonna host. She's gonna host SNL so many times.
Oh
in her
my
career.
god, that's great.
oh my gosh, I hope.
Oh, that's awesome.
Has she done it yet?
I know it, but she should.
She should. She'd be great.
I would like actually maybe watch.
Yeah.
Like I haven't watched that show.
Yeah, I'll tune in for that.
Right.
Doja.
Yeah.
Q, I know I just met you, but has anyone told you you look like Ludacris a little bit?
Man, that's hilarious. That's so funny.
Is that- okay.
One other person in my life, and she was really like, "That's hilarious." She's like, "It's not a bad thing." I was like, "Which Luda?" I'm like, "Is it like
Which era?
I want,
Like-
if it's
like
early
early
Luda,
2000s
early Luda, I'm like, dang, he's tight. But post all the Fast and the Furious movies.
No, you look like
he's like goofy.
You look
Luda.
like Too Fast, Too Furious.
Hey,
Whichever one he was.
all right,
I'll
with
take
the
that.
fro.
Nice.
That's
when
the
he was
best
still-
Luda. That's like right after hip hop.
That's
just
cool,
get
Luda.
it in.
Yeah, that's still
No
cool,
shade,
Luda.
no shade. I
Yeah.
promise.
Yeah.
I was just like,
like,
man, this guy
This guy
looks
looks
familiar.
One other person said that about. That's hilarious.
I wonder if you got like a big fro. Like, is that like some like a
Luda?
Halloween
Is that
costume
who I
you
gotta
could
be
do?
next
I mean, hey, that would be a
Would it work?
year
And I'll
long.
be like, "Move, bitch. Get out of the way!" Like,
That, you just play that. You got the big old arms.
Yeah, I was about to say, you gotta get the big arms, dude.
That was like even him like
the Hulk
back-
arms painted
That'd be
brown.
when I was like to show my age when I was in middle school and saw that music video, I was like, this is hilarious.
Yeah, he was great.
He had the line where it's like, it feels like a midget hanging on my necklace.
Yeah,
There's like a guy, and it's like I'm like,
There's
wow,
like
you
a guy on the
you
necklace.
couldn't do that today.
Yeah.
You couldn't do
That's
that today.
crazy.
He was funny.
Oh.
One last statistic from the Spotify Wrapped, and
Yeah.
then we'll move on. Is the most popular podcast, because we know you love podcasts, Matthew.
Oh.
Number
There you
one,
go.
dipped in nonsense.
Yeah, number one.
And that's it.
No
That's it.
surprise there.
Changing Tides is number 2.
Yes, sir.
Thank you guys. We appreciate it. Changing
And 3 through 5 didn't show up.
So number one is this really a big surprise? The Joe Rogan Experience
I mean,
was the most popular podcast
Yeah.
globally. Call Her Daddy was number 2.
Wow.
well,
What is that? Do you know what that?
I don't know.
You know what Call Her Daddy?
I kind of
podcast?
want to listen now.
That was the Barstool one. They had the whole drama with one of the hosts leaving. It was
Oh,
a
dang.
whole
Oh, the
thing.
Barstool Sports.
Yeah. It's a Barstool podcast.
Okay.
But they're huge.
Interesting.
yeah.
Isn't that interesting? The drama that happens in the podcast community.
know, it's
and like
wild.
we all know about it.
Yeah.
Like even with Tiger Belly. With
Oh,
the,
I'm tuned in.
Oh,
Yeah, Kalila
I
and
am-
Bobby Lee.
It's
like
What's-
reality TV.
Right.
I
but
honestly
podcast.
haven't heard it in a while. I just knew like there is this one episode where like we're breaking up, and then also like, but then she has like her podcast with like 2 other female hosts, and then he's trying to like do his podcast with her still.
Yeah.
But honestly, I haven't really like listened to it like a lot because I found the David Chang podcast. But like
They're still doing it
There's
together?
some drama.
Dang.
There's some drama. Okay.
There's drama everywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
drama.
Yeah.
Joe Budden.
And then it's
yeah.
cool seeing like them hopping on different each other's
Yeah.
podcasts. Like there's one I listened to called See the Thing Is Pod, and they were talking. They're mentioning Andrew Schultz, and I was like,
What?
they're cool with him. Like it's such a small world. The 2 girls that they have their own podcast. I don't know. I might have showed it once to you guys, but yeah. Anyways, I'm just like, damn, that's pretty
Yeah.
cool. And then they just grow each other's audiences with the collaboration.
It's like when
Like over
EDM
time
artists
now.
share like a sample. So when we go to EDC, it's the same song, but
It's-
50 remixes.
Yeah.
It's the moves to make.
drop.
Number 3 spot, Anything Goes with Emma Chamberlain.
Who?
Anything Goes with Emma Chamberlain. No?
never-
Oh, isn't she like I know she's popular. I think for like her style. I want to
Oh,
She used to
that's
be a
cool.
YouTuber.
say. Okay.
Ah.
She's also has a huge platform.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
that's
is
dope.
this is what it says says, recorded from the comfort of her bed, Emma talks at length about whatever is on her mind every week. Anything goes. Anything really does go on this podcast.
She just like has a studio bed.
It's just like
that's cool.
her alone. I'm kind of like curious.
I don't know.
Now.
Is it her
To be
alone?
one of the
Or
top
do people get in bed?
No, it
with
seems
her?
like she's just in the bed. Caso 63 is number 4 spot. Caso 63, and that is, it says in parentheses, all languages. So I'm like, what does that mean?
All language. That's
What
crazy.
does that mean? Yeah, it's all in it's in Espanol. No me hablo español.
You gotta go these and
Crime Junkies number 5.
I was waiting for their
typical.
crime one. Yeah.
Yeah.
When is the true detective stuff gonna come in?
Yeah.
True
Yeah.
crime.
Do you
Dang,
guys
no
like,
last podcast on the left.
do you guys like crime stuff? You guys listening to crime podcasts? You like the serial killer wave? Is that your
Yo.
cup of tea?
What's up?
I met some people and they love all that shit. They're all into it. They're like all talking about it. Me and B were like, we can't really watch that stuff because like it's just too much, too dark sometimes.
intense.
Like like right before bed, it's like I just can't do it. But they're like, we watched the Casey Anthony doc that came out because like they're all hyped for it. There's like a doc about, and she's like telling her side of the story. I don't know, but they like knew all these facts and they're talking about all these. I guess they like send each other like different crazy murders that have like happened and shit. And I'm like,
They're like
you guys are
Nightcrawlers.
crazy.
The only one I got into was the serial. That was a serialized, like it was a long thing, and it, like they ended up reopening the actual court case
Dang, that's wild.
because
I
of the
remember that,
podcast.
yeah.
So the one with dang, who's that guy? They did an HBO
Making a
show on
Murderer
it
or
too.
something?
Yeah, it's the same one.
Oh yeah, he got,
Adnan Syed. Something
yeah,
like that.
Adnan Syed.
Something like that. Yeah. That story is crazy.
Adnan Syed. Yeah, there's the TV series was called The Case Against. There's been a couple of things, but this podcast led to Adnan Syed's release.
Yeah.
And that's crazy because
Yo,
he was
wow.
23 years incarcerated for the mysterious murder of his girlfriend at the time, and they believed it was him. It was this Muslim guy, and they threw him in jail. So podcasts have power. Well, you know, I guess
They
that's
do. Speaking of podcasts and hot things, you want to talk about what's trending today with Yay?
later.
Later.
Let's talk about our guests.
Oh
Let's
yeah,
talk
you're
about
right.
our guests.
I thought we were talking about the actual hot topic. Right
So
now.
Matt, tell us who you are. What's up with you, man? What's going on?
Well, thank you for having me on.
Thanks for coming.
I only know through you guys through Kevin, so it's I was just kind of thrown into the mix, but I know Kevin because we're both pretty involved with the JA community, the Japanese American community. I work. My day job is with Changing Tides. We're a nonprofit program of Little Tokyo Service Center. It's all about mental health within the AAPI youth and promoting open conversations. So I've been working there for about a year. So that's how Kevin has seen me at numerous events. We've just been around and so we offer different programs, different initiatives to either open up the conversation or to provide actual resources, whether it be therapy. We provide 6 to 10 free therapy sessions per individual in this program. And then we're trying to launch one by the beginning of January of 2023 for suicide prevention trainings.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so all about mental health. And then outside, when I have my free time and I'm actually cutting back on hours with my work is because I'm working on a documentary. I went to school for film.
Yo,
Nice.
Yeah, and it's about a classmate of mine, Rise Williams. He passed away due to a super rare form of cancer the day before our high school graduation. Yeah, so it's a cancer called renal medullary carcinoma. It's a mouthful. Primarily only impacts young black men for the most part, but it impacts carriers of the sickle cell trait.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so trying to cover his life, cover the cancer, and get them some supports because, let's face it, when it comes to healthcare, people of color fall by the wayside.
Yeah.
So that's what we're trying to do, like address the overall issue and then specifically this cancer in Rise's life too. So yeah, film, mental health, those are my two big passions.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. So Changing Tides, that sounds incredible. What
a great
got
name,
you
too.
involved in it? Or
Yeah.
what kind of drew you to it? Because I don't know, I have a lot of respect for being a part of something that's like providing an actual like real service to others and it's service to like other people. I think I just have a very incredible amount of respect for people who like put their time to that. I think that's awesome. So yeah, what kind of drew you to that?
You know, I just had like horrible depression my senior year of high school, and I didn't really know how to get help because I didn't know what to call it. Like I didn't know what to call what I was experiencing. I just called it a funk. But then like as I spoke to my peers and they're like, oh, I know that kind of feeling too, but I don't know what to call it either. And then I'm lucky enough to have family who's supportive of self-care, mental health. So then I went to a psychiatrist, diagnosed with clinical depression. And then just because of like the awareness of my mental health and like by speaking to others, if I didn't speak to others, I wouldn't have been able to get help. So that's what drew me to Changing Tides, where they're all about opening conversations. But it was created by Cortland Shimada and her friends at UCLA at the time. I was a freshman in college at the time, but Cortland's younger brother Kenji, I was on his basketball team from first grade through like senior year of high school.
Dang.
So I
Long
knew,
time friend. Yeah,
right.
Forever.
Yeah, so I obviously knew his sister, so I was aware of when this program started, and then I was just like, hey, if you guys need help, I'm going to school in Chicago, but whenever I'm around, I'd love to help.
That's dope.
Yeah, and then I got involved, started volunteering then. I joined the youth committee in 2020, then I got hired on end of 2021.
That's really dope.
Nice.
Yeah. That's cool. What's this like experience been like for you since like joining? I mean, especially for you to have been volunteering early on and then it transitioned to like full time. Must be enjoying it. Or getting a value out of it. So yeah, what's that experience been like?
I love it because like I truly am passionate about it, you know? And then like I think about like what mental health has looked like. Do you mind if I ask you guys your ages?
Yeah. I'm 32.
Okay.
I too am 32.
I'm 30 years old.
So it's like for me in high school, because I'm technically Gen Z, which is wild to me.
Yeah.
But like when I was in high school, it was barely a conversation. But then for like you guys, like what was meant, like especially for like what was mental health?
It was not there. I think
Right.
that's like a new thing. Like honestly, the past like 5 years, like the pandemic, I feel like it became a way bigger, conversation or discussion. But like I feel like maybe the past 5 years, like I started hearing like radio hosts talk about it, and as podcasts got
Right.
bigger, they're having more discussions about it. But
It almost seemed like it wasn't until like 2015, 2016 that people realized that like, oh, we shouldn't be as like misogynistic and hateful and racist. And oh, we should talk about our feelings. It just somehow suddenly clicked around between 2014 and 16, just out of nowhere. It was just like, oh, let's be better people.
Kind of like after like the Me Too movement, like it was kind of like, hey, like we should really assess this, because like people like, I think the real stopping point was when people started accusing Aziz Ansari. And then he kind of like went into a spiral of depression because of that whole situation. Being accused and being put under the microscope and then having his series canceled for a while, it really put a damper on like some of those people, and they're like, oh, okay, like, kind of pump our brakes a bit.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's a lot of like,
shootings, I think that too. People
Yeah.
are like, the focus was like,
there you go.
you know?
Why'd you point at me?
Oh, no, I'm just like, it was just like, it's like, oh, that's the topic, Like, yeah, like, Matthew, where were you on?
It's true though. Like
Yeah.
I think we're just so aware of everything that's going on with social media.
Yeah.
Then you're like, wait, why is this actually all happening?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shootings, Me Too. It's like,
The suicides at one point were like the number one cause of death too in America before the pandemic. That is, I think around that time frame.
And the drug epidemic as well. So I feel like all of these
the
factors,
opioid
like
epidemic.
Yeah.
opioid epidemic,
Yeah.
So then it's like all within this time span,
Right.
things got out of hand, and then
Yeah.
since then it's been like, okay,
Now
the
that-
topic of conversation has been like mental health.
Yeah,
mental
but
health,
now that
which
you
is
bring
great.
that up, like the shootings and stuff like that, it was kind of like when you had all these things, everyone analyzed it. Everyone was like, well, why did he do that?
How could this have happened?
How was his past, foreshadowing what he would do, Like was he like, an incel? Was he like neglected? Like all these other things. So like everyone's like, oh, it kind of like stems back to like, oh, he was depressed, he was this and all these other things. And so like, let's admit, when you see like, a bunch of like white males on TV when they talk about like, oh, they're like the opioid epidemic and them not being like as confident in themselves. It's like, well, you know, what is going on? And then I think that kind of opens the discussion. It makes it easier for everyone else to kind of like really talk about it.
Yeah.
Because like we discussed, you know, like yesterday, I was like, I didn't have any resources. Everyone's just like,
Show didn't.
It wasn't until, and then I think there was an effect too of people going to therapy within the last 3 years, and then them being able to speak from experience about what therapy was able to do for them, or what talking to someone or going to get some professional help was able to do for them. So like for me, for example, I became an advocate too because I went to therapy in 2021. I pretty much talked with her up until like earlier this year, but the value that I got from speaking with her was like the difficult challenges that got me to that point. I'm grateful that it did because I was able to learn so much about a lot of my behaviors and even was able to unpack experiences that I had in the past going back from like early childhood and stuff. So that put me in a position to be an advocate, and I feel like others who have gone through similar situations. So we got more advocates, and I think that people are more receptive to. It's like, oh,
it's not looked down upon. It's not how it was 10 years ago.
I feel like even if like
beyond.
2014, you would still get like pressed like crazy for going to go speak to a therapist or something, or people would just be like, "Oh, are you okay?" Or they might feel a lot of stigma,
uncomfortable about it or something.
You know what else? Like people don't call them shrinks anymore. People just call them therapists.
Really?
Yeah.
Because it's like you know what I mean?
That.
Like
they used to call them shrinks.
It's only on like TV, like it's an old show, but they'll call them a shrink.
That's interesting.
You know, and it's like I just think like there's the field has also changed so much. Like I'm sure like it's still difficult to find people of color who are therapists, but they're out there now.
Definitely.
So like that's like what Changing Tides tried to do. Like we're trying to gather like AAPI therapists for AAPI folks to talk to them because like I wouldn't want to have to sit down and describe to someone who isn't of the same background like what a tiger parent is, or like experiences that are specific to being Japanese American. You know,
that is the biggest facts I can say, because even I've talked with multiple people who've tried going to therapy, but they were talking to someone who they couldn't relate with, is how I'll put it. And I would say like when I was looking for my therapist, and I don't know if this may be helpful for others, but someone kind of laughed at me for doing this, but then I explained my reasoning and they're like, okay. But when I was looking for a therapist, I based it off of like their pictures of like looking at this person does realistically look like someone who I could talk my deepest secret. Or like if I'm going through real shit right now and I've got to talk about it, would I feel comfortable talking to this person? Because I think a lot of people have an experience where they are searching for a therapist and then they go with, you know, maybe the credentials or the top rated or whatever, but then they sit there and they're talking to the person and they're like, there was a disconnection, and then they are like, I'm afraid to go through that experience again, because it is a lot of effort and energy to go to see and talk with someone that you're making yourself very vulnerable. So getting burned in that initial, you know, tryout for a lot of people was bad. So I lucked out with the person that I ended up talking with because, one, I just looked by pictures, and then I found some like just mixed lady who's just black woman. I was like, I could talk to her. Like I saw her, I was like, I could definitely talk to her. And then when I called her just for the initial phone call, I was just like, okay, I've never done this before. I was just like, I don't know, how does this work? And then she was like, oh, just talk, and then if you feel comfortable, then we can schedule something. And so after talking with her, I was like, I could talk to you for sure.
Nice.
So I think that was kind of like my journey, and I would encourage others, maybe, you know, just go with what makes you feel comfortable ultimately, and I think you'll have a better experience.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think just so much of it comes down to being comfortable, also like saying like, oh, this isn't a good fit. Because that's
okay.
Yeah, it's totally. I mean,
it's not me, it's you.
It's just like the first time I tried therapy, it was this older white lady. Because at the time, all I told my parents. Again, I'm so grateful my parents were on like in my corner and like willing to help me out with this.
Nice.
I was just like, I would rather speak to a woman than a man. I think that was just like my internalized misogyny being like, there's a man that'll listen to me right now. And so I was like, I can't go with that.
Yeah.
So then I came around. I was like, all right, well, I'll talk to a woman. I think that would make me more comfortable. Then I meet with them, and I hated it.
Oh, dang, it was
It
bad.
was so bad. Like, it was like, and I'm not saying it's because like it's obviously, I'm not saying like, oh, it's because they were women. It's because they're white. It was just like, I went up based off of a rating, and just purely because of this reason or that reason, not really like connecting with them. And then I stopped therapy for the longest time because I was just like, oh, this is just what therapy is.
Yeah.
So it's just like, and I think that's a lot of people who aren't fully aware of mental health and how it works. It's like, oh, I've had that experience. That's how it must be with all the therapists. But
Yeah, and I think it probably takes so much for someone to even get to that point.
Definitely.
So then when you do and it doesn't work out how you expected, you'd already given so much for that moment. You're like, I'm good.
Right.
Like, so yeah, I would encourage people to continue the search till you find someone that feels right, because it's really worth it. I haven't had it yet, but I want to.
I mean, it's it's such an intimate relationship. It's like you're not gonna marry the first person you date necessarily. I mean, some people do. But like if you're not expected to marry the first person you date. And similarly, a therapist is a very intimate relationship. You're telling them everything.
They should just have like the next bus, but for therapists. You know, like you're coming off next. You know, like what was your deep stuff? You know, because I mean, you gotta try them all out. Because honestly, like, you know what? If you're really balling, you'd have multiple therapists. You know, you have like different like, you know, different gender, different ethnicities. You know, but you would unbag all of your stuff.
But then you're just retelling the same story over and over.
But like, you know how like some therapists don't go the same route. Right.
True.
So you're just kind of like,
I need a second opinion on my thoughts. On my thoughts.
Well, this other therapist says that I'm right.
Yeah.
You know,
how's your experience been? Like, has there been challenges? Has there been like just, I don't know, game-changing moments that, like, what's your experience been being involved with it? And
I think I mean, to be completely honest, the most difficult thing has been like getting in the space of suicide prevention, because it's like, but when we got in this space, I was like, I don't even feel comfortable saying that word. And I was like, how do I, like, am I supposed to say, like, what's the vocabulary here that's actually appropriate? But then we've come across so many families that we're supporting who have lost someone to suicide. So it's like, well, I need to be comfortable discussing this topic. And now how do we provide resources in that area? Because therapy is great, and so are so many of our other resources or initiatives that we do. But like when it comes to suicide, sometimes you got to take it up another notch. So that's why we're trying to do these suicide prevention trainings, because like if someone were to come to me and let me know that they were feeling suicidal before going through that training, I wouldn't know what to say. And like the gut instinct is just be like, oh, well, have you told your therapist? Or oh, have you been taking your meds? Like, or something, you know? And then you learn through those trainings, like that's not the best way to go about it at all.
Such a delicate.
Have you taken your meds is a crazy response.
It is, but it's like some people might go there.
Yeah.
Like some people might think like, oh, like especially when you're panicking, you don't know. So
it's knee-jerk reactions.
Right.
You know?
So in that realm, it's been the most difficult. But then I've also learned like sometimes you just got to be a listener, and sometimes it's not helpful to be like, oh, well, in my experience, it's like it's just different for everyone. Mental health is different for everyone.
To listen.
Yeah.
And really not pass judgment or try to problem solve.
Right.
You know?
Right. And like, but like, see, for me, my brain, I wanted to problem solve. When I wanted help, I was like, oh, tell me what you did. But that's not for everyone. So you got to learn like your way isn't everyone's way. And but I think the biggest game changer for me was when I did start taking meds. I've been on Lexapro gang for like 6 years now. And like the best advice, because I was terrified of taking them, but it was just like, oh, sometimes it could help turn mountains into hills. And that was like all I needed to hear. And then I was like, okay, I got it. I should at least try it if it's gonna to make it easier. So
that's great.
Yeah, for me that was the biggest game changer. And then just like learning, like obviously empathy for other people, and that my way isn't everyone's way. You gotta work with everyone, get to know people.
Do you feel like it's really leveled up your patience? Or do you feel like,
Patience. Yeah. And you know, it's wild because and I don't think, I mean, I know my brother wouldn't be upset, but me and my brother were not getting along for the longest time. One of my older brothers. But through my work, I was like, oh, everyone deserves patience and empathy. Just because like he bullied me when I was a little kid doesn't mean I gotta hold that over him, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, so it's like, you just gotta learn with everyone. It's like, everyone's going on their different pace of their journey. There's no reason to hold that over anyone's head that they're not at the same point as you are.
Yeah.
So it's just like every step along the way, you just kind of learn about how mental health works for different people, and you really realize mental health is a day in, day out thing.
Yeah.
No matter like if it's you're exercising daily or you're taking a day off or you're gonna cook or you're gonna eat out because you don't have the time, like everything kind of feeds into your mood and the way that you view things. So I don't know, I just think it's definitely taught me patience. But and then just I also learned event planning through this job.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
that takes
event planning?
takes
Yeah.
patience too.
Yeah, like that's a lot.
Yeah, but
Please
I mean,
see the email and the CC.
Is it like
my
coordinating
God.
with the city or just with like in Little Tokyo around?
all kinds of things. You know, you're working with different vendors. You gotta, you know, it's just
A
it's
lot
all
of
different.
pieces.
Yeah, lots of moving pieces, but it's like
A lot of personalities.
yeah, lots of personalities, and then you can't handle everything by yourself, and it's like if you're a control freak like I am, it's like you gotta hand it off to certain people. But you know, you just learn. It's just life skills that you learn along the way, like any other job. But I'm just lucky enough to have mental health as a priority in my work.
That's tight.
Yeah.
Do you think it's your experience has allowed you to like almost, I wouldn't say have like superpowers with communication, but do you think it's given you the ability to like either connect with people on a easier level or better level, or like, you know, do you feel like that skill set has been of benefit to your communication with others?
Yeah, I think so, especially like with speaking to different generations, because our program targets the youth, but like Little Tokyo Service Center, like we target elderly, we have like kids groups, we have, you know, all different types of stuff. So through LTSC, like I'm working with people of all different age ranges. So it's like I'm able to connect better with someone who doesn't know what a TikTok dance is, a lot better than I was before the job, or not just talking about sports. I could talk to people about other stuff other than just what I'm familiar with, you know?
That's cool.
Yeah.
Pushing you out your comfort zone.
Yeah, definitely.
And you've been here for 1 year? Full year? Or you said 2?
This job, I've been there for just over a year.
Nice.
Yeah, but I've been volunteering for a minute now. But
Dope. Where do you see yourself as, you know, things progress and the building is happening now, right? It's like you guys are expanding in different ways.
Yeah, you know, I'm staying on board for a while now, but at some point I'm not going to be youth anymore. So when it comes to Changing Tides, it's a youth program. So at some point, you know, you got to hand it over to someone else.
Pass the torch.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to staying here for the time being, and I don't know how long that is, but I don't know. I'm really passionate about it, and like I genuinely love the work. And especially in nonprofit work, you gotta love it because the pay isn't gonna be as crazy as some other people.
Yeah.
But it's a great group at Little Tokyo Service Center, and then the work that people we get to work with. So like, when you're passionate about the work, and I'm not to say I'm not getting paid because I'm getting paid.
But it helps, right? Being passionate about what you're doing.
Definitely. So I'm here for a while, but eventually I gotta go 100% to film.
I
so.
feel you.
Ooh,
So wait,
yeah.
just real quick before we get on the film, can you talk to us about the podcast?
Oh,
Changing
most
Tides
definitely.
podcast?
I thought you were gonna drop an ad for like MeUndies or something.
No.
Yeah.
But wait, there's me undies.
Changing Tides podcast, I'm the host of it. We do most of it on Zoom, but we just reach out to different people from the community, the people we've interacted with, and talk about their mental health stories and then how it works into their field or their experiences. So one person that comes to mind is Michelle Hanabusa. She's, you know Michelle?
Yeah, she's in what is it? The LA Leadership Generation Council Generals thing.
Yeah,
she's
super
doing
involved.
like that thing on Saturday.
Yeah.
Where she's like making like lunches and all.
Are
that
you going?
stuff. I was thinking about going, but I might be helping Low Key Burritos move a grill but she.
What's so random?
It is really random.
It's like the spot of.
I'm sorry. And like I was like honestly because I was looking at that and wanting to RSVP because she just like needs people for like 3 hours to like kind of like pack up stuff.
Yeah.
I might do that because the burrito things is like 6:30 in the morning. So I'll figure that out, and then once you want burrito, like, are you doing that?
Yeah, I'm going there.
Hey, okay, all right,
But
all right.
I met her through the podcast.
Oh no way!
So I spoke to Mike Marase, who's
Cool.
Little Tokyo legend, and he's like, oh, you should interview Michelle. So I talked to her, and I'm like, oh, this clothing brand is sick. But then I'm hearing about how mental health goes into being a clothing designer, and like operating a whole clothing brand plus Hate is a Virus, which is her nonprofit program all about ending Asian hate, So it's like you just hear different backgrounds and how mental health interacts with being a clothing brand designer, being a community leader, being a UCLA gymnast, this, that, and the third. So it's just like, it's cool to hear these different perspectives, and then in a way where you don't have to be in person with us at our events where we share our stories. Someone from the other side of the world could listen to the podcast and be like, oh, they're talking about mental health over there. Maybe I could relate to this.
That's dope.
So I really love doing the Changing Tides podcast. It's not, I don't have sound bites, but we have honest conversations.
That's all that matters.
That's the most important thing, is
Definitely.
having and being able to kind of share those experiences with others. And it's like a relation thing too. That's really tight.
Are you hosting it by yourself?
Yeah, I host it by myself. I do most of it on Zoom. I said that already, but
Is your first podcast?
okay, I had a brief stint where I tried to do one in college. The way like most college kids probably thought
That's
about
pretty cool
doing
though,
it.
starting early though.
Yeah.
That's tight.
Yeah.
To have the
Right.
insight,
That's
to want
tight.
to try.
No, I shouldn't have that. 'cause did you the
What's
comedian
up?
Chris D'Elia? Do you guys know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So like he's had his whole thing. But, like, At the time when I was listening to his show, I was like, man, he could host a full hour-long conversation by himself.
Yeah.
Skills.
So I tried that as like a sophomore in college with no experiences in life.
He's also like a stand-up.
Gotta start
He's also
somewhere.
a stand-up
Yeah,
comedian.
he's like he got material.
Yeah, and I'm
Before he
like,
got canceled, his pod was really great. Actually,
Was it?
it was
Yeah.
really funny.
Dang.
It was pretty
Yeah,
funny.
yeah.
But yeah, continue.
No. So I tried that in college for a little bit, and
Dang.
So, because you've always had like a big interest in pods, and then so you're just like you got a mic and you're like, let me just try it. Is
yeah.
that
So
okay?
so all my roommates in college at the time, funny enough, they all did music. So they had the equipment. I would
Nice.
and then like they taught me that going into your closet where all your clothes.
The sound,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's so funny.
So I had the smallest room in the place too, but so I
Tucked
had
in a little clothes.
literally like people would tell me it looked like the Harry Potter.
That's so funny.
Because literally like my ceiling was tilted because of the stairs.
yeah.
But then somehow my closet was even further in the corner, smaller.
Yeah.
But I had all the clothes, so I would just like be
you just
like,
really tiny?
you know?
Flutters on your head, like talking.
Yeah, my computer wasn't in there with me.
Oh, so you had the wires running out.
Yeah, because I couldn't
Yeah.
fit it all in there.
Go into the sound recording booth.
So I tried that, and I tried to incorporate talking about film now and then, talking about college life, and still kind of talking about mental health and all that. So it was a fun effort, but I'm glad it's.
Had to let that one go.
I hope it's not on platforms. I'm not going to say the title.
Just dig it up,
After we're done.
Hopefully not. Hopefully
Play some
not.
clips next week on the pod. No, I'm kidding.
It's being hosted on Zynga or something like
No.
that.
Gosh.
Go
That's
do it.
dope though that you kind of have had that interest
Yeah.
in like hearing your Spotify Wrapped, like you're about it for sure. That
Yeah.
podcast world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of podcasts I've listened to, but
Yeah.
it's interesting because like, to be completely honest, like I'd much rather like, I'm much more introverted than I might show, but like I've just always been, since like my experiences in high school with mental health, I was like, oh, if I could help, if someone has helped me in that way, maybe I could help someone else. So I was like, I might as well just put it out there.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's real shit.
You went to school in Chicago, so that was your first time away
Chi-town.
from home,
Yes.
Whoa.
and you were going for film.
Yeah.
Dope. Tell us about that experience.
Chicago is dope. I actually want to move back for
Yeah?
a few years.
Hey.
I love it. I mean, the thing about crime out there, it's like literally
South side.
it's one part of
Yeah.
like Chicago, and it's just like it's horrible, of course, but it's like that doesn't reflect the whole city.
Yeah.
And it's like the third major city in the U.S., but it's also not even in the top 10 of the most expensive cities to live in.
Dang, we gotta get to
Nice.
Chicago.
So the food scene, I think,
It's
might
cool.
actually top LA.
Them hot dogs be smacking.
They do. They do.
They put a whole piece of chocolate cake in a milkshake.
Yeah, they do.
They're like, let me make this nice, delicious chocolate cake and cut a slice and shove it in a blender.
Dude, it's crazy. And then like, I actually like deep dish. Chicagoans don't like it themselves, but I love it.
It's good.
It's
Like
really
when
good.
you get it in Chicago, it's just
Yeah.
good.
Oh man, no, it's
like a whole
hefty.
nother level.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went out there and picked up like 3 of them. Like, dang, this is
Yeah.
like 45 pounds.
And then living, the cost to live out there is so much lower than here. Even like a Trader Joe's there versus Trader
Really?
Joe's here.
Wow.
Like, it's pretty different. But I love that city. Public transit's a game changer.
Yes.
Not needing to
Nice.
drive everywhere.
Yeah.
LA
sucks.
I love
For real.
LA. LA is my home, but I want to live back out there for a few years, not as a college student.
Yeah.
But yeah, then I went for film, and I it's funny that to leave LA to go study
Yeah.
film in Chicago, like the Midwest. But I love my time there too. Like we had access to like a full sound stage, similar
Oh,
to that
dope.
of that was in the same area as where they filmed like Chicago Fire. It was like they had a sound stage like next to ours.
Nice.
So I got a great education out there. I actually had the opportunity to transfer to New York, NYU. But I
Hey.
loved my time so much there at DePaul, where it's like maybe not as heard of as an NYU.
Yeah.
I was like, I love this place. Like, I'm not going to dip out now.
Yeah.
So it's like I stuck it out, and I'm glad I did, but I got a great education and passion for film grew. I feel much more confident in the craft.
Nice.
Yeah.
Were you scared first going out? Like, going like this is your first time away from home, right? Were you just
Low-key,
excited?
I don't know. I was just kind of like,
Ready?
yeah, I don't know.
Nice.
Like, did you all go to school here or?
I went to Irvine.
So we grew up in the Bay Area and
Okay.
we both came down to school down in here. But when we were like small kids, we lived down in SoCal. So
Okay.
it wasn't like going to like some crazy different place.
Gotcha.
It was like a interesting, like I didn't know anyone in
Right.
SoCal though, so it was like kind of starting all over again. So I was a little nervous about that.
Yeah.
Also, like I had to learn how to drive a stick shift
Oh,
and
nice.
commute from like Torrance to the OC.
Really?
Like a 45
Within,
minute to 2 hour drive.
Within like a 2 to 3 weeks. So I think I had
Yes.
like some anxiety thinking
That's
about
wild.
that. It was pretty crazy
Yeah.
initially, but that's cool. So you're just ready to go, and
Yeah.
that's dope.
Got my parkas, got my down jackets.
Oh, it's so cold
Yeah,
in the
you have to
winter.
deal with that,
Gear.
but I loved it. I mean, I lost my graduation due to COVID, so we did a little YouTube live stream of graduation.
It was in thick COVID,
I was
like deep
I'm-
COVID.
Dude, like it was literally a PowerPoint presentation.
Oh man.
That
How
was the whole thing, but I loved it. I love Chicago. I love school out there. Yeah.
How was networking like in the film, community and
Meeting with peeps.
Honestly, I didn't even. As a film student, I hate film students.
Cine boys.
Dude,
I'm a
like,
hype beast
I
and I hate
hate
hype
film students.
there's like what about film student? Like what grinds your gears
Okay,
about film
so-
student?
Top
Okay,
5
yeah.
films. Now, count. Right.
Literally.
Yeah.
They ask that all the time. What's your top 5?
They judge you.
man.
It's almost like in LA, like I was recently at this one event for like this Noma book signing, and I specifically met a person, and I caught myself. I'm like, usually it's an LA thing to ask like, what do you do? But instead, I want to ask, who are you?
Yeah.
You know, like who are you know?
Yeah.
You tell me anything about you, but
Right.
I know how that gets because. Once you start those ranks,
Yeah.
you get judgmental.
Yeah.
You get criticized.
It's like,
You're
Shrek
like,
2 is your number one movie.
bro.
Shrek 2
Yeah. What do you mean Ratatouille is number
should be number 5.
Yeah. What are you doing?
Dude,
Have
like
you-
that's literally what it was, though.
It's like it's
Is it ego?
being critical.
It's, I think
critical?
I think it's insecurity because I think so much of it was like
Yeah.
like the way people talked was so
Oh.
obnoxious. It was literally that. It was like, I mean, it was also like stupid stuff like every new class, the professor's like, oh, your name, your pronouns, what's your favorite
that's
movie?
so interesting. I haven't been in
We haven't
college
been
in so
to
long.
I've been out of college for like 10 years.
Yeah,
so
yeah. Every class they asked for your pronouns,
That's
basically, which was
fascinating.
dope.
I mean,
which
it's
was dope.
very different.
Because like especially because it's a liberal arts school,
Yeah.
Yes.
so it's good
Yes.
to know because it's like you could very easily like I could have very easily been using someone's wrong pronouns
Yeah.
all the time,
Dude,
but
No,
Yeah.
it's just not even.
and not even known it
It's
just so
unless they told
interesting.
you. So
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
good to know. But like but like the professors. Every class, so like your name, pronouns, and then like your favorite film, and then like your guilty pleasure or something.
Guilty pleasure.
So then like there's the annoying, there's like the annoying kid who's like, oh my favorite, the best film ever is
Pulp Fiction.
There were those.
The Room.
There were those.
The Room.
Like the kids were like, oh, my favorite movie is Transformers 3. It's like trying to be silly. It's like, it's like, dude, that's your sense of humor. Like, to be sarcastic about your favorite film. It's like, dude, shut up. So
this guy a wedgie.
Yeah.
So I was just
Put it over his head, you know? Like,
no Holy Mountain, no, like, you know.
No, and then like one of my friends who ended up going from the same high school, but the next year to DePaul, she tells me the story of when at orientation they're in the elevator, go up to the dorms, and the kid goes, okay, what is everyone's favorite film that came out before the 1960s? It's like, oh, shut up, dude.
Yeah.
Just like,
Oh my god.
Well,
watching
there was
that.
this one.
Before the 1960s.
There was this one film with some hoods, and you know, I don't know.
Birth of
It was
America.
silent.
Yeah, he was like,
It was silent.
this movie.
And then there was this other one where they
Birth
had
of
these
America.
arm bands.
Oh
And
my
this
God.
guy
Terrible.
with a very
So
unique
sad.
mustache. And like what movies could I say besides
It's that.
Nosferatu? Is that before the 60s?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Citizen Kane.
I don't
It's
know.
Let me
Yeah,
just
definitely.
divide this niche, you know,
I
because
still haven't even seen Citizen Kane. I'm so
Yeah.
glad
I
that my
haven't
professors
either.
made me watch that. I would have hated that.
you know what I did like? I did like the movie. What is it? Mink.
Mink.
About
I didn't
basically,
watch it.
it's Gary Oldman who plays the guy who like wrote Citizen Kane, and kind of like it's like
Orson
a nice
Welles?
little like ode to like that era of shooting film and stuff. It shows you like the backlots of like Universal and stuff like that. But
fun.
like I was like this movie's better than Citizen Kane.
Interesting.
You know?
Yeah, I got it. Swept a bunch of Academy
Yeah.
Awards. So, were you working on sets, or what were you primarily doing?
What
When
piqued your interest? Like, I remember, like, what's your?
what was your draw?
Yeah, I don't know. I always go back to honestly like seeing The Dark Knight,
Oh
Nice.
yeah.
and I was like, and like I know like film kids. If any film kids listen to this, they're gonna be like, ugh.
Whatever. I saw
Yeah.
that show like 3 times.
It was-
this year.
it's
amazing.
It was
It's fire.
incredible.
So I was like, oh, this is crazy. I was so like
Is it David Fincher?
in it.
Yeah.
Christopher Nolan. Yeah. Wait, is that what?
Chris Nolan.
Chris
no,
Nolan.
Dark Knight's
Chris
Chris Nolan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I was like so like in it, and then I like the movie ends. I'm like, oh, someone made this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, that would be really cool to make something like that.
Yeah.
Nice.
So then, like, just in like middle school and high school, I do whenever like a teacher would give me like a history project, and you either could like write a paper,
Do a
or,
video.
like do a little video. I would always do the little video,
Nice.
and then like I got gassed up because freshman year, one of my English teachers, almost a professor, I always forget the difference. My English teacher, we did one on what's the movie or the book about all the kids. They fight each other. They kill one another. It's like
Pig,
Lord of the Flies.
Lord of the
Lord of the
Flies.
Flies.
Nice.
Pigs.
Yeah. Piggy. So I did a project, a film,
God.
like a little movie project on that, and like she tells me still like, oh, I still show that to my class.
Hey, that's cool.
I was
That's
gassed
really
up.
cool.
Yeah.
So then I was like, okay, if I can keep doing that,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with it.
Yeah.
So that's what piqued my interest, and then like, I mean, my dude, you have to make a short film to get into most
Oh, yeah,
film schools.
yeah.
Oh, it was horrible.
Uh,
Horrible.
But it
was
worked,
it?
right? I mean,
no,
mean,
DePaul didn't require one.
okay,
Oh,
gotcha,
okay.
gotcha.
But all the ones that needed one did not accept me. But anyway, I learned so much there. I was like, oh, no wonder that movie was so doo-doo. Like, so, but I learned so much, and it's like, oh, you have to actually write a script. Like,
Yeah, script
Turns
writing.
out you can't improv this
no.
short
It's
film.
not whose line it is, anyways.
Right, yeah, literally. It's like-
just do something. Just no motivation. Just
Right.
go at it. You
and
know?
like, so yeah.
What's
That's
your
right.
creative preference in the field? Do you like shooting? You like directing, or what draws you to it?
I really like to direct.
Nice.
Nice.
I know like what I've always said, like I know what the shot I want, but I've never been able to like put the camera, the lights to make it actually look that way.
Oh, got it.
Need
So
a
it's
DP.
like, yeah. So I have a homie, Brandon, who he has shot for me on the documentary. He shot
Nice.
all of our Changing Tides events. I'm like, this is like he actually could do what I
Yeah.
Nice.
wish I could.
Yeah.
So that was another part of like film is like learning. You gotta
Yeah.
let other
Roles,
people.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Delegate.
So directing, I really like screenwriting. and I also like editing, but I know I'm not the best editor. But it's like there's just satisfaction of getting like perfectly
What you want.
that perfect
Yeah.
clip, like
Yeah.
and like actually seeing it come together.
And you're like, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, dude, like that cut on that song was like when it lines perfectly on the beat. It's just like there's nothing better. So it's like,
Funny.
yeah. So directing is definitely like kind of my thing, and I think I think it has to do with being kind of a control freak, and then also understanding that other people are more talented with hands-on
delegating.
stuff. Yeah.
And you have a vision, so you're able to
I'd like to think
communicate.
I like to think I have a vision.
Not I'd like to think you do.
Yeah.
All right, say I do.
You're
I
right.
got the
I do.
vision.
I do.
I got the vision.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah.
directing was definitely the lane that I've gravitated to from the beginning.
How's your screenwriting experience been? Because like I feel like that's something that I would like to. I don't know. I feel like I need to figure out. It's just like, all the pre-planning
I
stuff.
took a screenwriting class. And I passed.
You remember? Do you remember? What is it? My cousin. What's her name? Sarah.
Yeah.
Her partner is she's she's a TA for screenwriting
that's
at some
crazy.
kind of some kind of college.
Dope.
I don't know. Bring her on.
Screenwriting is insane because when you see the script, you understand that like, wow, all of the camera direction, all of the everything.
Yeah.
Like you initially feel that it's the director is the one who's. If you have no film knowledge, most people would assume that the director is the one who's putting all this together. Until you read a script that was written by someone else and you see the level of detail of like even how the lighting is, where things are angled, who's coming into the shot. Like it's like the level of detail in the scripts is insane. So screenwriting's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Because I mean, at its basis, it's like technically for a stage.
Yeah.
Right. You know, theater.
It's like a play. Yeah, it's just like a theater play.
Like come in, like entrance or stage right. You know, all this.
Tom Cruise jumps in from ceiling.
Yeah, Tom Cruise is now on the outside of a plane.
Yeah.
Focus in. You know? Just like
Close on.
Zooms into Tom's grunting
how can I
face.
do this? You know, make sure his eyelids are open.
Yeah.
You know.
But yeah, screenwriting was like, first off, I was like, oh, how do you do that in Microsoft Word? Like,
The format is like.
it's like, how do you
Typewriter.
you just gotta hit space to get there. Then you learn like there's actually like
Tabs.
Programs.
programs to do with it. But then even then there's like, oh, like what do I do in parentheses or what do I do as stage direction? But I think for me, like I had to in all my classes I had to like throw out like 15 different ideas. And then you finally come across a couple that stick. And then you're actually like, oh, you can actually write out a whole thing. But it's like, if you get to like page like 10 and you can't figure out what to do from there, then it's probably not an idea that's going to go all the way through to do a whole thing. So I
Being
just
able to
kinda,
let go of it.
Right.
Pivot.
That's the hardest
Kill
part
your
about
darlings.
filmmaking for me is letting go of my favorite bits of things.
Oh, you're like, there's something here. I know it.
Gotta edit it out. Like, but we spent so long on it.
Dude, and it's just like, oh, I love that specific shot, but I know to make time or it just doesn't make sense, whatever it might be. So yeah, screenwriting, I don't know. I just kind of, I would catch a rhythm and then you kind of go with it. And then you could always make edits later. But it was cool because I've always kind of been like a visual thinker.
Yeah.
So like to kind of like visualize it and then put it onto paper or like reading a book even. Like I love to adapt some of the books I've read like as a kid.
Oh, cool.
And I could like, because I've always been able to so clearly visualize it.
Hey.
I've always said that the Hunger Games owes me some money for casting Woody Harrelson because as I read the Hunger Games, I don't know why, but I always
Saw him as the.
they owe me. They owe me.
Nice. You put it in the universe.
That's
and
what I'm
it happened.
saying.
Here are dream residuals for you.
Yeah,
That's what
give me my
Dude,
dream.
I always
That's
visualize
crazy.
him as I would read it.
you like.
When did you become aware of the fact that you like are a strong like visual person? Like for me, like when I was in high school, I would hear like music and then I would try and imagine music videos. So that's kind of how like my little, I don't know, visualization
I
practices
don't know.
began.
You guys got good questions. I don't even know because I'm trying to think back, and now that it's so embarrassing. But now that you make me think about it, I like if I'd hear a song on the radio in the car as my mom was driving, right? I'd be the kid that'd be like looking out the window, like imagining myself in the music video, like, rain going down the window. I was like, I would picture myself and just like looking out the window.
Let it burn.
So it's just like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like,
That's good.
I always had a weird imagination as a kid, like, and and I decided just to pursue it. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't, but it's like,
Fuck it.
yeah, might as well.
Do you have vivid dreams?
I do, and
Whoa.
I found that a lot of people don't dream in the third person.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Like
You
I dream in the third person.
So you're like a you're like a character in like playing like an
Like
RPG
I see, like
game.
I'm watching
You see
myself
top
go
down.
through.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
can you visualize yourself in the third person right now?
A little bit.
Because no, this is like a
A
self-awareness
little
thing.
bit.
It's like a self-awareness thing. It's
I
like,
feel like I'm tripping. I'm like, am I
it's like
gonna,
he's not looking. How am I sitting? He's
having
not.
an
Am I
out-of-body
slouching?
experience.
Am I slouching? Oh,
He's not looking at us. There's like the cameras behind him looking at all of us. He's
Hold
like,
on, let me look behind me.
you know, like Doctor Strange when he like gets shifted out of his own
Yeah.
body.
Yeah.
I was like staring at myself
you're
right
like,
here.
you're like behind watching
Hey,
him.
you might. Oh, this is kind of cool.
This is
Maybe I should
me.
get back to it, definitely. But no. That I mean, so explain more, like how you dream in the third person. You're like, it's like when you're so for our listeners out there, it's like if you play a video game, it's like not first person, not over the shoulder, but like completely like, hey, like you
Pull it
are,
back.
you know, like a figure. Okay.
I don't know. Like it's literally like it's camera movements.
That's crazy.
Like I feel like I see like a cut.
Oh.
Like I don't know if that's I don't know. I don't know if I'm making myself sound more special than I am. But it's like,
I mean, it's a unique perspective because my dream video game is first person. So.
so when you
So
dream,
yeah, when I dream, I'm like I'm the guy.
Interesting.
I'm like it's like Doom. It's like
interesting. Yeah,
know?
see, I'll
Yeah.
literally be doing something. I'll go through the door and then I see another cut. Like
No
I don't know why.
way.
You're just about it.
But like I didn't even know that was different from other people.
That's interesting.
Can you lucid dream?
No,
Can you control?
no.
I can't.
You can't control.
really.
So that's even wilder because he's looking at himself
That's
and
crazy.
he can't control himself.
Oh yeah.
That's he's like, no, Matthew, don't go in that door, no, don't do it. And then you just keep. Wow, that's like it's crazy because it's not crazy. It's like wild to imagine that like there are. I never even thought of like there being different dreams. I always thought it's just in your head. You're first looking.
I haven't thought about it either. So
Are you currently like writing anything or like is there anything you're kind of like working on, dabbling in, or like have an interest in starting?
So there's a couple. So there's not anything I'm currently writing, but I'm working on the film about my classmate. That's something where I like. Luckily, things are picking up a lot of momentum. That's why I have to cut back on time with work.
Excellent.
But working on that. But then like there's a couple. I don't know why, but for me, it's really hard to picture doing a short film that's not comedic because I'm just so used to like YouTube sketches, you know. But I don't want to do comedy.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I'm funny enough to do comedy, so I'm like, I don't want to go with it.
No.
But yeah, see, Kevin said I'm not funny enough.
Yeah,
so-
yeah. He was just like, yeah, no,
I was
don't do
fine.
it. He's like, no, you said.
Why is that funny?
Yeah, you're right. But like, there's something like a dream film I'd love to make is about Yuri Kochiyama.
Oh,
If you know Yuri Kochiyama.
Explain to the listeners.
Yes,
so Yuri-
We might know, but
Yeah.
they might not know.
So Yuri Kochiyama
Sorry.
is one of the bigger or biggest like names in JA and Asian American civil rights movements.
Oh, nice.
She was actually like kind of considered like Malcolm X's right hand man.
Oh, I think
So
I know what you're talking about.
She kind of helped combine the yellow peril with like the black civil rights movement at the time. And she's had some very extreme takes as far as like saying like maybe Osama bin Laden had some points.
Yeah,
she's
she has
still
some
alive.
hot takes.
No, she did. She
Oh,
did.
she
Got
did.
some hot
She
takes.
recently
Oh
passed.
yeah, but I mean,
But-
like, you know, well, I guess Osama
Right.
bin Laden's been around for a minute, so
But it's like she's had such like a huge impact on Asian American civil rights and also women's rights and work unions, and like I'm just think like as I was listening to podcasts and reading about her, like that's the other time when I was like visualizing it all
Nice.
and picturing these very cinematic moments in her life, going from the internment camps as a little kid all the way to being there holding Malcolm X when he was assassinated.
Yeah, that's
like
wild.
she was the
way.
first one to go and reach him. So I think that's another part of working for Changing Tides. It's like it's so much impacted my view on like what I find interesting, because I wouldn't have heard about her if it weren't for the Changing Tides podcast, because one of my guests told me about her.
Nice.
Oh.
And then I listened to everything I could about her and I read about her. And I'm just like, oh, what a like cinematic and what a meaningful life.
Yeah.
So, and I'm also kind of like, so much fiction and fantasy has been done
Yeah.
It's like, how often can you recreate that?
Yeah.
And you can't meet them where they're at
Right.
like currently, you know.
Right.
You can't make a Marvel movie. You can't do another Rings of Power.
And it's like,
so costly.
And it's that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know who's gonna fund my stuff, but it's like there's so many interesting stories that have already existed or are currently existing. It's like, why try to recreate the wheel when there's already such amazing stuff out there that hasn't been told.
Yeah.
There's so many amazing lives that haven't been, their stories haven't been told.
Because going along that line is like, I mean, I've already talked to you about how I firmly believe there's like this Asian entertainment renaissance that's kind of happening, and you know, things like the 442nd, things like, you know, my great granduncle, all these stories are amazing, you know, to talk about, you know, just to like, it just needs to be captured and kind of, you know, brought to light, you know, and only with the rise of like, you know, Shang-Chi and kind of like Crazy Rich Asians, it's like, oh wow, there's some
Asians are
amazing
pretty cool,
stories.
actually. We
Amazing
should like,
stories, you
yeah,
know?
we
It's like,
should,
oh, so the people who make Naruto are actually cool too.
I mean, they don't all look like that in Tokyo.
Yeah.
Just don't hang out with Totoro and, you know, No Face and just like hang around and eat food and just, it's all the wild stuff. But like, I mean, like, who's that one guy? He's like a Korean American, and he like made like blue, is it Blue Jasmine or like some other, or like he makes a couple like films, but he's really like kind of really pushed the limit of like, you know, telling Korean American stories and things like that. And I think, you know, for the Japanese American like community, I think it's our time. You know, I think we have the event space, we have the assets. We just kind of need to believe in like the stories and kind of, you know, put young filmmakers at the helm.
It's like creating more opportunities or for it to happen, you know?
Bruh, I got it easy, right? I'll lay it out right now. You get the Japanese government to fund Matthew's movie, and then you take that movie, hire, you know, Michelle Hanabusa and all her friends and stuff like that as like actors and actresses, you know, cast them, and then you host a big event at the JACC where you get a bunch of donors from, you know, Union Bank, Mufiji, you know, Somi, Cafe Dolce, all that stuff, and then you kind of cycle that through, and then you just take it to the Man's Chinese Theater in Hollywood and have the premiere outside
bada
Japan
bing,
House.
bada boom.
Yeah, you know,
It's so
$1,000
easy.
plate.
Yeah,
It's just
it's
so
so
easy. It's just
easy.
Let's do it tomorrow.
Chestnut checkers.
Yeah.
But like what I'm saying is like the dots are there. It's just about, you know, just like connecting them,
Doing it.
you know, and stuff like that. But like I would say, for a person like me, I've dealt with all those, or I've kind of been in all those spaces, so I know all those things, right? But like, you know, say for instance, if you're just like, you know, someone who's just getting in the space, you don't know that, you know, so you think it's huge and daunting, but there are pillars of support, and there are ways to like, you know, get grants and all these other things that I think our community has much more kind of outlets to kind of, you know, prop up our youth and kind of like embrace that. And dude, there's so many amazing stories.
Even more broadly than that, I'm just kind of like, I people keep saying like the era of the movie star is over. I'm like, okay, that's fine with me. It's like,
Era of the movie star's over.
like, because like who's like the last big like movie star? People keep always
Tom
saying
Cruise.
it's Tom Cruise.
Yeah, Tom Cruise.
So it's like, but that's great. But it's like, I don't need to be confused between Matt Damon, Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise. Like, I don't need to be confused between these white dudes that are all in every single movie. So it's like, we might as well just like give other people a chance. They're just as talented, if not more.
Who's that one young guy
Dumbfounded?
that he's like he's got the hair.
Timothy
He was in
Chalamet?
yeah, I feel like he is like out of the last generation, probably the only new movie star outside of the guy who plays Spider-Man.
Tom Holland.
Tom Holland. I feel like they're the only two. Like before, there'd be like 6 or 7 of them at a time. I feel like right now there's only 2 of like that caliber of big. Like, oh, that's a movie star.
It's
like
the breakdown
Tom.
of what Matt Damon was saying.
Tom
is,
and
like,
Tim.
they can no
Tom and
longer
Tim.
like take chances on people, right? Like that's why you don't see any like original movies kind of coming out. And it's like really hard because it's like you don't have the rental industry providing a second stream of revenue. It's it's movies. It's
gotta hit at once.
It's like one or the other. So Hollywood only wants to bet on these like secure kind of things. But I mean, like, I don't know, like the Asian community is throwing some heaters, like everything, everywhere, all at once. Wow,
Oof, yeah.
dude. Your boy, Top Round. The actor, he got a Gotham Award, and he's
Short round.
Short round.
Ki Kwan.
Top round. Yeah. He was just so excited. He's like, that's the best thing an actor can hear is when they're like, we want you, we want you, we want you. And
he
like,
killed it.
Honestly,
I think he was the star of that movie.
Yeah, he was, dude, because he was able to on the spot like do the whole like clicking in and out. Dude, and that's just pure acting.
Yeah.
Like,
Michelle Yeoh was great, but I think he was the star.
Yeah.
Of that.
I have a question.
What's up?
Sorry, you continue your point, and then I'll go.
Oh, I was just saying, like, I mark my words. I think 5 years that guy's gonna get an Oscar.
He should.
I swear, because it like put him in a serious role, put him in something else.
He was hungry. He was waiting for the opportunity, and he acted his ass off.
He had a hiatus for like 10 years.
You know?
I think it was more. It was
like 20. Like he sounded like he was like, no, I was looking for work.
Man, now he's like, last time I saw you.
So,
like, what's up? Go ahead.
If you had a magic wand that could give you any amount of budget that you wanted, $1 billion budget, $500 million budget, whatever you want, what kind of film or project would you like to make?
All right, so if we're doing a big budget like that, I wouldn't put it into the biopic that I'd want to do on Yuri Kochiyama. Because I think that's more of like a passion project thing. It's like, that doesn't have to be big budget. But if I had to do like a big budget thing, there's this book franchise I really liked called Shipbreaker. And it was like post-apocalyptic where it's, I think it takes place in like post-apocalyptic New Orleans. It's all these little kids, like, or not little kids, but it's all these young people who, because they're so scrawny, they go in and they steal the bronze or the copper wiring from the ships.
Oh.
So then it's like, it's global warming, so then they get washed away. But like, that was like one of the first books like in the 6th grade where I was like visualizing the whole thing. So I've always wanted to do what's it called, adaptation.
What's the book called again?
Shipbreaker.
Shipbreaker.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So that's always been like the coolest.
That's cool.
Book.
Yeah,
You've got strong visuals in your mind for like what you would like to do with it.
Especially because you said when you were in the 6th grade, right? So like you're like at the like kind of that era where like you're unadulterated by like outside kind of forces. It's like pure child imagination and just kind of like
that's cool.
envisioning that storyline.
The other one that like I was reading. Did you ever read like Summer Ball or Travel Ball?
Summer Ball.
It was like it's just like it was a childhood book for me, where it's just like all about basketball. This like short kid who couldn't keep up with everyone, but he worked the hardest. Or it's like, I don't know,
breaking
like
ankles.
Yeah, like doing something sports related. Like,
cool.
but the thing about sports is like, especially if they ever try to do like a Kobe biopic, it's like,
I know. It's coming.
Yeah.
It's definitely coming.
Who would
it's not
play
gonna
Kobe?
be right.
It's gonna be 5 years from now, and then they're gonna be like the Kobe doc.
Did you ever read or watch the anime Slam Dunk? It's a Japanese manga about like basketball and stuff like that. But because of that, it like spread basketball culture through a lot of Japan and stuff like that.
For enjoyment, what kind of genres do you gravitate towards? Or like, what would you say is
Guilty
your
pleasures.
favorite?
What's your guilty pleasure?
Not for like personal creation, but just for like
Oh, I rewatched the same show only. Like I only watched Community. Only watched Community, and I watched the same movies. Like I'll rewatch all of the Avengers movies all the time.
Oh wow!
Like for me, like if I'm not like gonna sit down and really like focus everything, then I'm just gonna want background music. That's why I love podcasts so much, just because I can listen to it kind of like passively engage with it. But like in terms of the new stuff that I've loved, or like other stuff like Breaking Bad, obviously.
Oh yeah, you already know.
That.
Come on, man, hold up, I gotta play this.
Fucking vine.
And I tried to like Lost back in the day.
I watched that for the first time last year. I was like, dude, this is fun.
The strongest start, and then
I know.
There's like
by the end of it.
In the end, the writers were.
But the first 2 seasons were pretty fire.
No, dude, just like everyone was talking about like you gotta watch it. I'm like,
Who's the bald head guy? I forgot his name.
The bald head guy.
I forgot all the characters' names.
Locke, something.
Yeah, Locke. They're like Locke. Where's
dude,
Locke?
like that show, but Reservation Dogs was great.
Yo, that is exactly the kind of thing that like
Dogs was great.
It needs to happen with like the J community, like because Taito Waititi just like produced it and all that other stuff.
You know, I thought would be super cool
What's
is
up?
doing like a mockumentary on like a nonprofit. That'd be so funny to me.
Bro,
I think that would be so
You
funny.
guys know the
I'm
inner
your guy.
workings.
Yeah. That'd
Something
like,
gemstones.
Yeah.
What is it? Yeah.
Unrighteous gemstones?
Yeah,
The
that's
righteous
just
gemstones.
hilarious.
Hold on,
Is
let me talk to the board. I'll
Yeah.
get back to you.
Right.
I feel like that'd be so funny.
Dude.
Yeah,
I'm-
that would be great, actually.
Yeah.
Hey, don't share those good ideas.
dude,
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Don't put it
Let's
out
just
there. Don't
we can
put it
scratch this,
Scrap
right?
that, yeah.
Let's start over.
Cut that out.
And shoot, I don't know. Like, just I'll try to watch everything, but sometimes it just falls off. And I'm not super into like The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
They just
like,
die
just
and they keep
ended.
walking.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
it finally ends.
Like, how many seasons? Like,
I
dude,
don't
you're like
know.
squeezing the juices
Yeah.
out of zombies.
There's other zombie things that are better. Like, what's the show that's
Last of
coming
Us?
out? Last of Us.
Boom.
Right? You
Oh,
know?
did the show start?
Zombies.
No, it comes out in January.
Yeah.
It looks amazing, dude.
Those are
What-
people
what-
infected with the spores. Those aren't actual
I'm
zombies.
sorry.
my
I'm
God.
sorry.
Yeah.
You need to
Picture
get down with your
glasses.
mycology
God.
and pull out your fungus book and see if they're edible or
Like,
not.
those aren't zombies, girl.
Shout out to Morton to anybody who has
They're
lists. We do not mean to
they're
make fun of you, but
infected.
you know, I'm just
Close enough.
Yeah.
That's pretty tight,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
clickers.
Should we talk about content and wrap up? We got
Yeah,
talk
I
about
mean,
it.
yeah.
We can
Well,
talk
what kind of
about-
content? I mean, you talked about Reservation Dogs. You watched the whole
like
Yeah. I'm caught up on
modern
that one.
content.
more recent.
More recent
Or no,
content, yeah.
not even recent stuff. I just want to talk about content in general. So let me tap
Okay.
this
Yeah,
little
just wrap it up
soundbite
real
real quick.
I can.
See clearly now.
I could say that I saw that show Wednesday and I really enjoyed it, and my friends who have seen it have enjoyed it. The main actress, I can't remember her name, but she just kills
Oh,
it.
she's
Yeah,
Great.
did you see
I
it?
just started it too.
Dang, that's
The writing's
cool.
pretty funny. Like, there's
Yeah.
just some funny moments. Her
Yeah.
just dark humor is just great, but it's like it stays. It's a good tone, you know.
Yeah.
It doesn't go like too extreme
Yeah.
one way or the other.
I'm excited they have Fred Armisen as Uncle Fester.
Yeah.
That's such a weird cast, but when I saw him, I was like, is that him?
Luis Guzman as the
No,
dad.
when I
is
first
so
saw
rad.
him, I was like,
yeah, Guzman. It's like
perfect.
I was like,
So funny.
this is so interesting. Like, I kind of like noticed as the cast, I was like, the cast is like mostly Hispanic people, except for
Yeah.
Catherine Zeta-Jones. She's like Welsh and like Irish.
Ah.
Yeah, it makes
I
no
never
sense
knew.
either. But
But it worked. Like the
Yeah, no, it
family, like
does.
their chemistry, it all just like it all works. It's,
Yeah.
it's done
Jenna
so-
Ortega, that's who plays.
Jenna Ortega.
She's gonna be the
Ortega.
next big star.
Dude,
breakout
she's
star.
gonna be she's gonna be a Marvel character.
Oh,
Yeah, you
character.
calling it now.
100%.
Yo,
She's gonna
I wonder
take-
what she could be.
I could see that.
She could be like a multiverse spider. That's the thing with the multiverse with Marvel.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
you can literally
it's
do
cool.
anything now. She
That's
could
true.
literally be Iron Man.
She
if
could
she
be a
wanted
Black
to.
Widow.
Yeah, she's the next Iron Man.
Dude, she could, because of the multiverse stuff with
Mrs.
Marvel. They could do
Strange,
whatever
you
they
know?
want.
Is there
Lex.
anything that like you've been watching
Yeah.
recently? Have you seen? It doesn't even have to be new, like how
Recent.
you're talking. Like, what's just anything interesting that you've like viewed or
Yeah.
movie, film, show that you were like, well, that was cool. Or
What made me start thinking about a mockumentary on a nonprofit was because I finally started watching Abbott Elementary.
Yo,
Oh
I need
my
to
gosh.
start that. I heard it's
it is
incredible.
funny.
I think it's. I mean, it's only 2 seasons deep, and I'm only like a season and a half in, but it's up there.
So did you get into it right away, or did it take a couple
No,
episodes?
The first episode was kind of whatever to me.
Yeah, I didn't get hooked. That's why
Yeah.
I like. But everyone talks
Oh,
about
dude,
it.
it picks.
It picks up. It picks up.
It's
Okay.
so good.
Okay, all right.
It's so funny.
The one thing that like kind of turned me on to it was Childish Gambino said he's like,
Yeah,
if I
yeah.
could have made one thing, it was like when I saw Abbott Elementary, I was so mad I
Yeah.
didn't make it.
Wow.
And I was like, Childish Gambino saying that?
Yeah.
Atlanta, Childish Gambino, Donald Glover, Childish Gambino.
I love that dude,
Yeah.
but I couldn't get into Atlanta.
yeah.
You couldn't.
The last 2 seasons.
Oh, fair.
The first 2 I really liked.
The
But
first 2 were cohesive, and then
Yeah.
like COVID hit. Third season kind of went off the rails, but I
Yeah.
kind of liked it that way.
Yeah.
And then it tried to bring it back to
Yeah.
Atlanta, and it's like
Different.
It's already gone. You should have
Yeah.
like kind of kept on like the but yeah.
Abbott Elementary.
But
is
Abbott
like
Elementary, tell us more.
A different like community. It's like a
Yeah,
leveled
yeah.
up community. Would
Yeah.
you say?
But
yeah. It's kind of like I think it's like it's literally just a more not as bland version of The Office or Parks and Rec.
That's funny. Yeah, not as bland.
You know, like
Nope.
there's
It's
actually
a little
some,
spicy.
Not as man.
That's why I said- It's like the one line that stuck with me is like, oh yeah, like Baby Shark. That's like back the thing up for like kids. You know?
Yeah, yeah,
And I was
yeah.
like, wow, that's hilarious.
and it's like it's just it hits all their comedic beats hit.
Nice. Okay.
Is it on
Yeah.
They
HBO?
don't miss.
HBO. Hulu.
They don't
Hulu.
miss.
Yeah.
A Hulu show.
Oh, The Bear.
Yo,
we talk. Yeah,
I got-
So
I got-
good.
I met
That's so good.
you know who else I met with Maddie Madison was the cousin.
Tell us
Really?
about this Maddie
The cousin,
Matheson.
yeah. Oh,
the cousin Vinny.
yeah, cause you know, gotta do what you gotta do.
I don't know what his name is.
I don't know what it is.
actually. Yeah.
He's like, you know, screw the
guy.
chits, you know. But like that guy was in there, but he was real mild in person. He was more like the Andor character, you know. But
Is he in Andor?
huh? Yeah, he's Andor.
I still haven't started that.
I've heard
it's
it's all good.
amazing.
Like,
It's better than the other Star
I've heard
Wars.
it's the best little.
I've heard it's
Really?
the best
I'll
Star
watch
Wars.
Not as
anything.
good as
Star Wars
Mandalorian.
best,
That's
I've
what I
heard
heard on
this.
Twitter.
The best.
even better than Obi-Wan or Mandalorian.
Okay, Obi-Wan was the most mid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It
didn't get
relied
it.
too much
I
on the
didn't get
characters.
It was so
relied too much
bad.
on the characters that they were just like, we don't need to write.
Sorry, I interrupted you.
Oh yeah. So like I met that actor, but then I also met before a Kendrick Lamar concert, I met Jeremy Allen White, Carmi, like, you know, doing all that. But yeah, the creator of The Bear and Maddie Matheson were at this talk that I went to, kind of over like 3 days. It was on Tuesday and like Sunday, but it was like they were interviewing Renee Redzepi, who's known for Noma, like one of the world's most like iconic restaurants that kind of paved the way for like gastronomics like nowadays and like fermentation and all these other things. But I was just nerding out with a bunch of people who own sourdough starters.
Yeah.
They're all, you know, like,
Oh, you can use sourdough
Oh,
starter for your
no.
like chicken
it was
breading.
funny. And this one girl, she's like, you know, I kept mine for 8 months and it was black. And I was like, I had some black liquid on mine. He's like, oh, that's just the booch. And I'm like, yo, man, like, and then I was like, as soon as I heard that, I was like, all right, I can bust out all my foodie jokes.
Yeah.
You know, I was talking about.
They'll relate.
There was a one direct TV commercial where Damian Lillard is like, he's like, all right, NBA's back. I could throw away my sourdough starter. And I was like, I felt personally attacked when he said that. Mr. Lillard, you didn't have to hit me so hard. You know, with the chest pass. I was like, oh. But like they were all laughing, just like joking around. But it was like I'm amongst my people.
Nice,
You know,
yeah,
it's like
yeah.
food
My
They
people.
get it.
My people.
My people,
My
you know?
people.
They like to eat food and take pictures and not really talk to anyone. I don't really agree with that, but you know, it's all good. You know, but it was that. But like, yeah, the bear. Oh my gosh! Like we have a homie, Chef Hart. He comes on periodically, and he's like, yeah,
Chef Hart.
that gives you PTSD.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, he's worked in
It's on
crazy
point.
kitchens
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
over here in New York and stuff like that, and he's like, yeah,
It was
People who work
real
in food, man.
yeah.
it's wild.
intense.
80-hour weeks and stuff like
Get
that.
yelled at by like multiple people
Yeah.
every day.
Dude,
All
just
the like personalities in the
Being-
kitchen.
in that hot oven space, getting burned.
Would you say being on sets like being in a kitchen?
Ooh.
No.
Yeah.
Dude, there's so much time between shots.
Oh.
Well, it's like you are on a schedule, but it's like
Oops.
like you're doing each dinner, each order, right?
Yeah.
It's done,
Yeah,
done.
it's-
But you're more so on like an 8-hour schedule to
Oh.
make sure you're fitting everything within that like
Yeah.
8 hours.
Schedule that
So
out.
it's like it's a little bit different, and then there's so much time in between, and it's like when you're doing feedback between takes, it's like, oh, like maybe next time try this. It's not like this was awful, like
Yeah.
this was raw.
Yeah.
It's not medium rare.
Yeah.
It's like you're not getting yelled at for that type of stuff. So it's
Delete the footage.
There's no
all
pickles
wrong.
on this SpongeBob.
yeah, so it's different, but it yeah.
What was your what's your most favorite project that you've like been a part of or worked on?
Oh, that's a good question. I think what I am most proud of was one I did called Amateur, which was just like a project in school. And that's the one that I ended up submitting to my NYU application when I was thinking of transferring. But it was literally just like a joke about being on set and like all these film students like, why are you the star of the show? It's like, or like the guy with the boom like hitting you on the head because
Yeah.
like he's like jealous or whatnot, and then like the guy behind the
People
camera.
purposely sabotage.
Right,
you
right.
kinda-
It's just like the egos of little film boys like being
Yeah.
obnoxious, and then it's like I'm proud of that one because I submit that to NYU, I got accepted, and I was like, oh, I could bet on myself. I don't need to rely on going to
go.
NYU. You know, I could bet on myself and my
Hey.
talent.
Nice.
So rather than using that to actually go,
You're just like,
I was just like, oh, I'm with it. I could do it.
Nice.
But I'm just like, obviously, once this documentary comes out, that's gonna be like that's my That's my thing right now.
Yeah.
So if once that comes out, that's gonna be I'm on it to work with it and work with the family, the Rises family.
Oh wow.
But like as of stuff that's done, like that one was probably the one.
When do you think, like,
ETA.
ETA of
Yeah.
like I guess estimated time?
I think we're really gonna pick up on production soon. So I'm hoping to have. My idea is to do like a friends and family edit by next winter.
Nice.
So that we could kind of do a little screening that's like pre-final, but just to show people like
We've been
I've
working.
I've had
we've
such a
just-
gap on like social media of talking about it.
Gotcha.
So I need to show them like, hey, like we've been doing something.
Yeah.
Like so I want to have like a rough friends and family edit,
Yeah.
pre-festival route edit
Nice.
that I could be like, hey, like here's what we have so far.
Cool.
I hope this means something to you.
Nice.
And for now, like here's a placeholder while we finalize the whole
Dope.
thing. So next winter, 2023, December would be dope, but I'm not gonna hold anyone to that or expect
Yeah.
anyone to hold me to that because we have a lot to do still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just the ideal time.
Ideal, definitely ideal.
Dope. Nice.
Cool.
You guys, any other content related?
I was gonna say what
So
because like, all right, so a film that we just watched recently was
Ooh,
wait. I gotta pull up the name of it.
The Menu?
Something.
what?
The one with Tom Hanks. It's
Oh, Man from
got,
Otto?
No.
Oh.
No. Here, I'll pull it up. One
Oh,
moment. Right, the name just like
What?
it's not The Prestige. I want to say
the
that.
name shot in
but
my mind. Oh, Road to Perdition.
we're-
Oh, that's
we're to
with Jude
perdition.
Law.
Yeah.
Where
Yep,
where he's
the
like
ending.
he's like
No.
a fixer.
It's incredible. Directed by Sam Mendes, who also did 1917.
Really? I
I
Yeah.
know that.
But there's this. I didn't see it.
Mendes.
It came out in 2002.
Oh, my God.
I didn't see it. I didn't even really. It wasn't even on my
Oh.
radar at all until like last year. I watched it last year, and I was like, "Wow, that was like." Sometimes you watch a movie, and you're like, "That was a film."
Yeah.
Like that was like that was a movie. That was a great
yeah.
movie. You're so like
Feel that.
like you lose your mind
Yeah.
while you're watching it for that 2 hours, and then when it's over, you're like, oh shit, that was some good stuff.
Have you seen that film?
Road
No,
to
I
Perdition.
haven't.
Yeah. So, but that
you cut
movie,
it.
I'm only bringing it up because like that was like the most recent thing that I've seen
Oh.
that was just like, oh, that was a film. Like that was a movie. Like,
Yeah.
is there any like movies or anything that you've seen recently that you watched and you're just
Impactful?
at least a little impressed, or
Yeah.
it was more just like, dang, yeah, that was a fun movie,
True.
or that was a good time at the movie.
Everything, everywhere, all at once.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
like
I feel you
Holy
on
bagel.
that.
Yeah.
Dude, like
Delicious.
that one. I whenever I would tell people to go see, I was like, I haven't ever cried that many happy tears and sad tears
Oh,
in one
right?
movie. I was
'Cause it
like,
hits you.
At
It
the
hits you.
end,
Oh
when they're
my
like,
God.
With a rock.
no spoilers, but there's
It's been out.
Uh,
Come on.
all right,
That's
all
true.
right,
It's
all
been
right.
out like
talk
a
about
year.
it.
But
We
yeah,
actually
when they're
gotta
hugging at the end and they're just talking about like their love.
Yeah.
There's no. I saw it like 3 times in theaters. I think. And
Dang.
every time my eyes would water a little bit.
Yeah,
But the
dude.
first time especially, but I was like, can't cry.
Yeah.
I was like, don't
Oh,
cry.
dude, I got to meet Michelle Yeoh and
No
Kiki Kwan
way.
at an event
Awesome.
because
Be
she
like,
was.
take me home with you.
Dang.
Can I live with you?
For bro,
Yeah.
I know Michelle's rolling in it right
Yeah.
now, but dude, like,
Michelle Yeoh.
well, I just was genuinely like I told Michelle, it's like, I know you said like this is like the movie you've been waiting for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like what like I was just wanted to ask them questions.
Yeah.
Yes.
So dope.
So I just was like asking her about that. I asked Kihei Kwan about like to come back to film and to come back to acting and like what it felt like for him. And it's just like they're such like those two like as people are so dope.
Yeah.
And I was just like I was like I could meet. I don't know. I'm a big basketball fan. I could meet
Yeah.
LeBron. That would have been. I mean, that's LeBron James.
Yeah.
But like
LeBron James.
to talk to those two, I was like, this is amazing,
Special.
special,
Yeah.
so
Right.
special to like, because that movie made such impact on me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Really.
yeah. That one. I mean, Parasite was a movie.
I was gonna talk
Yeah.
about that too.
Bong
It was such
Joon-ho.
a one that won
Movie.
What is it?
that award.
Yeah.
It was like the first
Oscar.
foreign.
It won. What is the first Korean movie to win
first
Best
foreign
Picture?
film
Yeah.
at all, or
Oh,
foreign
yeah,
film.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
to
Really?
win feature of the
They
year.
were like, what about Pan's Labyrinth? Didn't Pan's Labyrinth win?
Which one?
Pan's Labyrinth. Didn't that win Best Picture?
That's not.
No.
That's not considered.
Is it not a foreign film?
An international movie
Yeah.
because he's so mainstream.
And he does a lot
US.
of American.
But I thought at the time it was okay. Just
or like native language or like foreign language speaking, something
Yeah.
like that.
What is it, Amelie?
But it was the first one to
Okay.
be international language.
I'm gonna
film.
stop contesting.
That movie was
No,
great.
but-
Yeah, I remember it was a big news,
Yeah,
big deal.
It was-
Academy Award
yeah.
for Best Picture.
Yeah, it was.
And for
crazy.
Best Directing,
Yeah.
for writing,
I-
Screen Actors Guild Award, for Academy Award
It
for
was
Best
great.
International Film.
I remember after that we kind of like that's when you're like you're kind of like because it won 2020, right?
2000,
And, like,
yeah.
Yeah, and basically it was like kind of like a pandemic film, right? So then after that we just binge watched we binge watched Old Boy, Handmaiden, The Howling, Two Sisters, like also all the Bong
Handmaid's
Joon-ho,
good, too.
Snowpiercer.
Okja.
The
I just
Host.
rewatched Okja recently.
Okja is a great it's
I never watched
it's just
it.
dark.
Yeah,
Same.
that's
It's
a good
dark.
one.
It's
That's
about these super pigs, and then this girl like takes her super pig to like go into the city, and then she finds out that like they butcher them,
Oh.
and then like
Hold on, you're gonna spoil too much.
Yeah.
They're
That's,
gonna see it.
that's the premise.
Come
that's the
on,
premise,
what are you doing?
Right? And then like a bunch of stuff happens.
Okay.
Snowpiercer. It's it's the apocalypse. They try to
There's snow.
cure-
There's snow. And
There's something that pierces the snow, and that happens to be a train.
Fair,
And then
fair.
you got was it Chris Evans
Yeah.
as a main
I
character? It's
remember
like,
that.
oh wow.
That's fun.
Gritty.
But like, yeah, that really like drove in the nail of like Korean content just hitting.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
after that, you had Squid Game just blow up
that blew
Netflix.
it up.
You know?
that was
And, like, 'cause
so huge. Like Halloween
it was a
costume.
rise.
It was a Korean
It was a
takeover.
rise, and then like after that, now like my favorite thing is like all the Korean like food shows, like Cold Noodle Rhapsody. They got a
The
new one about
mukbangs.
broth. No, not like the
Mukbangs,
people like
bro.
eating. That was a cool thing too.
Took
I'm
the
gonna eat
internet
300
by storm.
I'm gonna eat 300
Yeah.
burgers. Want to watch? And then it
Oh,
was like,
no, just eating. But speaking of new content, I saw the movie The Menu with Anna Taylor-Joy and Ralph Fiennes, and that is a crazy movie.
Was it?
That
What's
is
it
cool.
about?
It's basically so the writer explained that how they go, or he went to this one restaurant where they basically take you on a 30-minute boat ride to an island
Wow.
in like Scandinavia,
Whoa.
and he's like, we're kind of at the mercy of these people,
Yeah.
So he makes a movie about that where like, Ralph Fiennes is like the head chef, and he's just like super coveted, won every award and whatnot. And then, this girl, Anna Taylor-Joy, goes with her like partner to this thing. And then you find out like, like it's a little twisted.
Okay,
You
nice.
know, and it kind of like explains a lot of things. But the funniest part about it is that as I'm watching this, Adrian's like, "This is us. You're that guy. You're just
that's
nerding
so
around." And he's
funny.
like, "I don't get it. I just don't get it."
Is it in
It's like,
theaters or like
it's
can
in
you stream
theaters? It just came
okay.
out.
Okay.
Oh, I saw
And-
Black Panther too. That was
Yeah.
amazing.
Oh,
That's
Wakanda Forever.
amazing, right? Okay,
was
that's
amazing.
amazing.
fire.
Great for representation.
Well, for me, it wasn't even that. I was just like, first off, the costume design was
Yeah.
Yes.
crazy.
I followed that lady.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Her
Dude.
name is like Ruth, I think something, and she's like does a costume. She's been doing it for
Really?
decades.
Man.
She's
Dude,
good.
No way.
Suri's jumpsuit when they went to the college, I was like, I would buy that in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Jumpsuit?
Like
She's
like
good.
her whole sweatsuit
Oh, I
looking
see.
thing.
Nice.
But then like the outfits were amazing. I just think Ryan Coogler's like direction on that
The
was
dude.
Ryan Coogler.
amazing.
I need to see it.
You will-
So
you
there's
will
mixed,
say-
there's like mixed reviews to an extent, but then when I was watching the movie, I was like, I came in with an open mind, and I was just like waiting for. I was like, is there even gonna be a moment where I'm like, okay, I can understand why like there was even some, but then that moment never came for me as
Right.
I watched the whole movie, and I was
Yeah.
like, this was like fun and enjoyable and cool and tight, and the action was like way more improved. It was such a more like action-packed movie, but it was all done in a way where you could see what was going on,
Right,
and
right.
like it's like he heard all the feedback and improved on it. So I was like, this was a good movie. I don't
Yeah.
know.
That's my like one of my beefs with like film kids. Just bring it back to that, dude. I had so many like classmates that were like, "Oh, I hate Marvel." Like,
Yeah.
it's like,
Really?
dude, go enjoy.
How can you?
enjoy yourself?
Do you know
for
how to have
once.
fun?
And-
Yeah.
I know, it's like,
Do you
it's
go
not
to
that
Disneyland
serious.
and just like be disappointed with like churros.
Well,
and-
see, that was Chicago, so a bunch
Oh.
of those losers will
Wow.
Disneyland.
Have you left this town?
They're like the type that goes to the movie already with a mindset, and they're
Yeah.
just looking for things
Yeah.
to like hate, you know?
I won't
This-
enjoy this.
This
Let me
is
spend 12 bucks.
0.5
Yeah.
out of 10.
Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're just
So-
a hater.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
What is it? Creators and creators?
Creators.
Creators?
Yeah, there was a lot of that, but yeah, Black Panther was probably the most recent one I saw. Okja I rewatched because my girlfriend had never seen it.
Dang,
I feel bad because I couldn't spoil parts of it to her.
Yeah.
But it's
I gotta see
Just
that.
say-
The Riddler's in it. Yeah, you know, just like.
I know what you're saying now. Yeah,
Yeah,
Paul
yeah.
Dano. Paul
Yeah,
Dano.
Paul Dano.
Paul Dano's good. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the Batman was great too.
Yeah.
Dude.
Amazing.
Dude. Colin Farrell. You can play a penguin and a lobster. Like, he's amazing.
I think it could be better than Christopher Nolan's trilogy.
Whoa.
Ooh.
I like it
Ooh,
because
hot take.
Christopher
I think
Nolan's like, Batman's already an adult, a playboy adult. Like, you have this current Batman kind of just dealing with whatever he has. He doesn't know. I mean, he is the Batman, but obviously, like, mentally is just like kind of like really young.
Lacks the
You know,
experience.
he doesn't go out, stays at home.
I just think like the world building that they did there,
Yes.
like it was such like it felt like actually Gotham.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas like Christopher Nolan's was literally just
A city.
New
It
York.
was literally
New
just
York.
filmed in Chicago.
Yeah.
The whole thing was filmed in Chicago,
see.
basically. So it was like, it was cool, but it was
Yeah.
like, this is just Chicago. And
Yeah.
then, but like the world building here, and it's realistic, but at the same time, it's still in touch with like some of the
Yeah.
original source material,
Yeah.
like him actually being a detective.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
Batman's
it's
supposed
like,
to
you know,
be, you know?
not just doing crazy
Yeah.
superpower stuff
And most
Yeah.
importantly,
What's
you got Zoe Kravitz
Yeah, most
as
important.
Oh, it's Catwoman?
Catwoman. Ooh.
Yeah.
she did not stay there.
They had chemistry.
But yeah, I don't know. I just love to watch new shit, but also I'll always go back to rewatching
you know,
Community
the
and
classics.
the same stuff. So,
I would
Nice.
say most recently, the thing that I've been watching, that I've been binging, as the kids say,
As the kids say.
has been 1899 on
Oh, I heard
Netflix.
that's good. Everyone
Go
be talking about it. Why?
Watch it,
Why?
you son of a bitch.
You have to like pay
Why?
attention to it, right? Because
No,
I feel
The
like
creator of the dark.
The thing, no, it's one of those shows where it
Yeah, I think
will
it's-
call your attention.
Huh.
It's not one of those where you have to pay attention. It's like, it's
Oh,
it's mood. It has like a momentum to it, and it also gets crazy.
Oh.
It gets crazy.
it's-
it gets
it's-
really crazy
it's
in a
too
crazy
new.
way. It gets where it goes. You'll never expect. It's one of those
What?
shows where there's these German directors, creative team.
Yeah, man.
They created this show called Dark, and it's on Netflix. It's in German, so you got to read subtitles, but the shots are great, and it is probably one of the smartest shows I've ever seen as far as the writing and the pacing, and as development happens, they don't like tell you what it means. It's like they'll reveal something to you, and then there's so many moments where you're like, oh fuck, if that's true, then that means that this is that and that is that, and you're like, oh my god. And it's like the writing's so smart that it like it's constantly like that, where it allows you to fill in the blanks
Dope.
in a way to where the world is just getting built, and you're like, then this means that, and that means that, and holy shit. And then it makes you think about what the characters are going through on such a deeper level, because you're like, whoa, that's crazy. Then that means that like that's his, and she's his, and that's that, and holy shit. And you're
So
like,
is
wow.
1899 a
Yeah.
similar?
So 1899
Okay.
is from those excellent writers. So I would say that Dark is a bit more maybe intellectually dense. I feel like 1899 is definitely more for, this is like their Damn album, you know? Like,
Nice.
like I would say that like Dark is like To Pimp a Butterfly, and I would say
Oh.
that 1899 is like Damn. So like Damn
that's
was
cool.
Kendrick's best-selling album, had like the most streams or whatever, all that stuff. And it's
Interesting.
because he created it with like a more general, you know, it could appeal to more people.
Yeah.
And so I would say that it takes the smartness and the direction and like the creativity from Dark, and it puts it in this 8-episode package where the momentum and the things that are happening are enough for a general audience to get involved. And unlike Dark, which is almost entirely in German, 1899 is predominantly English, but it's on a cruise ship heading from Europe to America in 1899. So there's French, like the main characters it's a multicultural, multilingual main cast where I would say 60% is spoken in English, maybe 60 to 70%, and then the remainder is like, you know, speaking Mandarin, like Chinese, and you're speaking French, and there's a multitude of languages that go on. There's like Dutch, and like the characters don't understand each other, so, but that's part of what also makes it interesting, is that you have all these people who like, and they are saying like, I don't know what you're saying, like they'll like, someone will be like da da da, and they're like, what did she say? Like, you know, it's like they're like trying to make it work, and that just adds an extra layer to what's going on. But especially when you get to there's enough of a pull in episode 1 to keep you going and the momentum stays there, but once you get to like 5 and 6, bruh, it's crazy. I just finished it and I'm like, whoa,
1899 Netflix.
It's
like
crazy.
they're parading that around. It
Oh.
reminds me of like the era of like Shape of Water, like Rapture.
Yeah.
It's like that old nostalgia, but that kind of like
Yeah.
I can just tell you for a fact that you could not
guess
what happens or where it goes or what anything. You just gotta watch it.
That show came out like,
I was like,
it was
wow.
like a Friday, and I had a wedding on Saturday. I saw the thumbnail on Friday. I was like, what's that? You know, I'm shooting the wedding, and some of the employees were setting up. Were like, have you seen 1899?
Really?
And I was like, oh shit.
I've literally never heard of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Check it out.
I'll
And
have to check
then
it out.
if you like that, check out Dark, because I
Okay.
think Dark's incredible.
Okay.
It's so smart. It's so good. It doesn't do any hand holding. I think it's like but it makes it plain enough to where you can infer, you can like understand, you can like, you know, react to what's happening without having it like laid out. It's just so well written it's just crazy as fuck, and it keeps going.
all right. 1899. We're not gonna watch it.
So watch 1899. Also watch Dark if you like that. But it was great.
We want to
Crazy.
Last thoughts, final thoughts.
Yeah.
Final thoughts for this
Final
week.
thoughts.
So we like to wrap up every episode with like final thoughts, whatever, you know, thing you'd like to share with the people before we depart. We can start off with Mr. Atticus Warhol on the over yonder.
Give thanks.
Give thanks.
That was your last one.
It was Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
It's just so easy. But like now it's a
said,
little
"Give
bit harder.
thanks."
The holiday season is coming up, and I think we tend to focus a lot on getting, you know, large gifts or maybe something for that special someone, but realize maybe this is the time to give a little bit more of yourself to your parents and your family and your friends, and maybe to someone in the community that just needs a little bit of help. So be giving of yourself, and hopefully selfishly that returns back to you.
Nice. I would say, I just listened to our last pod, and one of the things was something that it's still important, just like being present and practicing being present. I don't know how many times I could say it, but I think, you know, it seems like it's been a year for some people. It's been a year for me. It's been a year for some of my friends, and I think that, you know, when we're going through things, our thoughts can really take us places that we don't necessarily need to be, but we don't know any better. You know, like sometimes, I don't know.
Sauce.
Yeah, you're just so in the sauce of whatever you're going through, and I just want to remind you guys to be aware of the way that you're thinking. Be aware of like the negative thoughts you have, so you can allow them to just kind of go through you and not like hang on to it. Don't hang on to the negative thoughts, because as soon as you're doing that, for however long you're doing it, you're thinking about something you did, you know. I remember like being younger, I could really sit on some negative thoughts for hours. And that whole time is just like wasted time. Like I'm not even living at that point. I'm living in something that happened in the past. So I'm just going to say it again, to try and practice like being aware of the type of like thinking that you have going on. Try and pay attention to when you find yourself feeling down and you're like having negative thoughts, and just be like, maybe, you know, ask, why am I having these thoughts? Or like, you know, or I need to let this thought go, and like remind myself I'm here right now and I'm okay. So yeah, just my final thoughts again is to just try and practice being present.
Would you like to share a final thought for the people?
I think what you both said is great. And I don't know if it's because you brought it back to mental health and the changing tides thing, or if that's truly what you were thinking, but either way, I thought it was dope.
Thanks.
For me, what I always say is listen, learn, grow. You gotta listen to people, you learn from it, then you grow from it. So listen, learn, grow.
Nice.
Real. My final thought is, you know, it's the end of the year. It's December. We made it through another year of life. We did that thing. Yeah.
We did it.
That was quick.
I know. It's like, all right,
2023.
you know, we all came off a hot year. You know, it's piping hot this year. So just let that cool weather and that cold air calm your spirits down, calm your soul down, and try and take a little breather if you can, unless you're in the, you know, e-commerce, like clothing, you know, retail industry is terrible right now, but your time will come in January. For everyone else, take a little time to calm your spirit down and, you know, get ready for this next year. I think that we made it. So this round of applause goes to us, because we're all awesome for getting here. And, you know, I just want to say thank you so much for joining us on this week's episode of the Dipped in Nonsense podcast. And thank you so much to our special guest, Matthew. What a hero.
Thanks.
We'll catch y'all next time.